started. Good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on where from across the globe you're logging in. Thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Megan Whalen. I'm the Director of International Recruitment at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. My colleagues are going to introduce themselves in just a minute, but first, I just want to give you a quick overview of our webinar. This webinar will focus on the student experience at Rensselaer, student living and learning, as well as the visa process and other support services available through our International Services for Students and Scholars office. We have many webinars planned during the month of April, over 100 actually, that will cover academic programs, academic support, and student life, for example. We'll give you all some additional information about those webinars a little later in the presentation. Please feel free to type in questions during the presentation. We'll type back some answers and we'll address other questions verbally at the end of the presentation. Let me pass things over now to my colleagues who will also introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Rosado. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Undergraduate Admissions at Rensselaer. Welcome to our webinar today. I, along with Meg, work with international students on the recruitment process as well as the kind of initial I-20 process. So welcome. I've been at Rensselaer for about 14, 15 years. So we really look forward to connecting with you and answering any questions that you have about the Rensselaer experience.
Hello everyone, my name is Mike Sun. I work for Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute Student Living and Learning Office. I'm one of the assistant dean of residential commons who oversees some first year cluster residential halls. Then I'm gonna introduce some about our resident life at RPI, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
My name is Mary Nellis. I'm the Director of International Services at RPI, and we work with international students after they've been accepted and upon arriving to Rensselaer Polytechnic.
Perfect. So we're going to get started with the presentation here. So as all of you know, because you've already applied to Rensselaer, we are located in Troy, New York, which is part of the Capital District of New York State. The other cities that make up the capital region of New York are Albany and Schenectady, and then Troy is the third city. Troy is the smaller of the third cities, and then we are separated from the rest of the capital region by the Hudson River. We're pretty close to transportation-wise. If you're looking to get to campus, we are only about 10 minutes away from the Albany International Airport, as well as the bus and the train station. So those are all easily accessible. We're also pretty centrally located as far as connections to other major metropolitan areas. So we're about 2.5 to 3 hours north, depending on traffic from New York City. We're about 3 hours west of Boston, and then about 3 hours south of Montreal. So while the capital region and the city of Troy are a little bit smaller than those major metropolitan areas, we are pretty well connected to those areas as well. We're also pretty close to other mountain ranges. So if anybody is outdoorsy or thinks they might want to be outdoorsy as an undergraduate student at Rensselaer, we're pretty much surrounded about an hour's driving distance from lots of different mountains. So we have the Adirondacks to our north, the Catskills to our south, and then we're kind of uniquely situated in a tri-state area. So we are very close to the Massachusetts and Vermont border. So really close to the Berkshires across the border in Massachusetts and the Green Mountains just across the border in Vermont as well. Troy itself has really emerged as a destination within the capital region, and there's always a lot happening. If you haven't had a chance to come to campus, The campus of Rensselaer kind of sits up on a hill, and then right at the bottom of that hill is a little borough of downtown Troy. So students can very easily walk to that downtown area. In fact, the campus is connected to the downtown area by this giant stone staircase called the Approach. So it's very easy to walk there. This slide just kind of highlights some of the things that happen in the downtown area throughout the year. Every Saturday in the summer, in the spring, the winter, all 4 seasons, we do have a farmer's market. It's pretty much shut down all of downtown Troy. And so I know that that's a really popular thing for our students to go to. It's a lot more than just fruits and vegetables, but there's a lot of different events that happen that Saturday. All the shops are open, all the restaurants are open, lots of food trucks and other vendors. I know I love to go to the farmers market on Saturdays. You'll see another picture of our proximity to the Hudson River, as I had mentioned just a little bit earlier, and then some posters of some other events that happen throughout the year. Rockin' on the River is a concert series that happens in the summer months. Troy Night Out is an event that actually happens every last Friday of the month. All the restaurants and shops are open late. There's different events. They might have special discounts for students, so that's a really popular event. And then there's other events like Troy Pig Out, which is a big barbecue event. So just lots of really exciting things happening in Troy and then in the Capital District in general. So just a little bit about student life before we dive in. We are considered to be a medium-sized institution. So we have about 6,200 undergraduate students and then about 1,300 grad students as well. We are a very geographically diverse institution. We have students from all 50 states. And then if we're looking just at the undergraduate student population, then we also have about 26 countries represented. So a very geographically diverse institution. We also have a very active and vibrant campus community. While students at Rensselaer are certainly dedicated to their academic studies, they're also really involved in extracurricular activities, athletics, community engagement and service, Greek life. We have over 200 plus clubs and organizations at Rensselaer, etc. So we'll get to all of that in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the overarching student experience at Rensselaer, which is CLASS. So the acronym CLASS, C-L-A-S-S, stands for Clustered Learning, Advocacy, and Support for Students. So it's kind of a mouthful, and it does have kind of a complex definition, but I'm going to describe it in the easiest way that I know how to. So I like to think of CLASS as sort of a multi-level support system for students. So we have lots of academic support systems for students on campus, and I like to think of CLASS as sort of the student experience, student life, residential component, and all of the support systems that can be found within those different divisions and departments. So I think it's a nice counterpart to the academic support systems that we have on campus for students. So for example, as a new incoming student, all students are assigned a class dean. That class dean is a professional staff member within the Division of Student Life, and they're your number one point of contact in the Division of Student Life throughout your time at Rensselaer. And they actually follow you throughout your 4 years. So they're always your number one point of contact throughout your student experience. And they also do lots of other things, lots of different programming that kind of varies depending on whether you're a first-year student, a sophomore, a junior, a senior, and so on. They also help students with the transition to college life. So over the course of 4 years, they shift from different programming that focuses on making internal connections to then, over the course of your time at Rensselaer, to making those external connections as far as industry and graduate school and jobs after graduation. So like I said, the multi-level support system starts with class deans and professional staff members in the Division of Student Life that sort of trickles down to professional staff members in the Division of Residence Life and Student Living and Learning. And then that trickles down to student leaders in the residence halls in the form of resident assistants and then learning assistants as well. And so Mike Sun will talk about all of that a little bit later in the presentation. But like I said, I think the easy definition is just to think about it as one big multi-level support system. So the next few slides speak to all of the extracurricular opportunities available to students at Rensselaer. So as you can see from the slide here, we'll just kind of go over some of the popular activities that students take part in. So we do have, for example, an RPI Flyers Club. Sometimes we get asked if we have a pilot licensure program at Rensselaer, and the answer is no. We don't. Well, we have aeronautical engineering. We don't necessarily have a pilot licensing program. However, as I mentioned earlier, we are very close to the Albany International Airport. We have a lot of students that already have their pilot license, or students who might want to pursue that extracurricularly, but we have a pretty active Flyers Club. Lots of different vocal musical groups on campus. The a cappella groups, there's several, and those are always my favorite. They perform at a lot of different events of ours, and I thoroughly enjoy listening to them. The outing club, we had already talked about how close we are to all those different mountain ranges. And so the outing club is a pretty popular activity for students at Rensselaer. We also have lots of multicultural religious organizations at Rensselaer that run the gamut. So things like the Muslim Students Association, the Asian Culture Union, and all of the others listed here on this slide. If you'd like additional information about any of these clubs and organizations, I would definitely encourage you to check out the Student Union website. They list out all of the different clubs and organizations sort of by interest group, and then you can check out each individual website for any of the clubs and organizations that you might be interested in joining as a student. We also have lots of instrumental music groups across campus. So if you play an instrument, but you're maybe not interested in pursuing a minor or a major in music, there are still a lot of opportunities at Rensselaer for students to get involved in lots of different kinds of ensembles. Students are actively involved in the community in general, but also community service projects or organizations like Habitat for Humanity. And then we also do have Greek life on campus, for which about 20% or so of students participate. We also have varsity athletics. So the slide here shows a couple of different photos from our East Campus Athletic Village, or ECAV for short. We do have 23 varsity sports, 12 for men, 11 for women. We're actually split division, so we're mostly Division 3 in our athletic conferences. We are Division 1 for men's and women's ice hockey. So those are pretty exciting games usually, since they are at that Division 1 level, and a lot of students do attend those events. About 75% of students participate in athletics. So that's not all at the varsity level, of course. We have students that participate in varsity athletics. We also have club and intramural athletics. So those are a little less competitive. Club sports might play some other schools in the tri-state area, so not quite as competitive as varsity, but still quite competitive. And then we have intramural sports as well, which are divided up by kind of like your competitive level, your familiarity with a particular sport. So there's lots of different opportunities for students to get involved athletically at Rensselaer as well. So with that said, I'm going to hand it now over to Mike Sun, who will talk a little bit more about student living and learning at Rensselaer.
All right, everybody. So I'm gonna talk about a little bit about the Office of Student Living Learning, aka Resident Life. So our office cultivates inclusive, supportive, and engaging environment that strengthens our Rensselaer experience for our students. So we try to accomplish this mission by providing personal and professional growth. So we'll provide a lot of leadership opportunity for our students who wanna support our student on campus and make impact for the whole large community. So I'm gonna introduce a little bit the structure about our Office of Student Living Learning. So currently, for me as assistant dean for residential commons, we do have 3 assistant dean for first year cluster and another 3 assistant dean for upper class, and we have 2 associate dean who supervise all our assistant dean, specifically dedicated to all residential students who live on campus. And there's a function I want to introduce as well. We provide some academic support as well. So we collaborate with Office of Adversity and Learning Assistance Center, aka ALAC. So we provide learning assistant on campus as well, who we are partnered together to support residential students. And another branch for our office we call Greek Life Commons. For those students who interested in participate fraternity and sorority life. For Greek life, we will have 1 associate dean and 2 assistant dean to support that office. Also, the 3rd branch for our office, we have off-campus commons. So RPI, we require our student who enter the first year, freshman and second year, sophomore, and also who participate Arch Summer, they are required to live on campus for 5 total semester. After that, for you, 3rd year or 4th year, senior, junior, you can live off campus. So that's the office we call off campus Commons office. They can provide a lot of information about leasing apartment off campus, and we partner a lot of local landlords to provide those housing information. And another function for our office, we provide a service called Safe Ride. So Safe Ride is services after 11 p.m. If students who live on campus or nearby our campus, you can call. It's like Uber customers. Uber, you can use our app to order Safe Ride. So the student our student work leader can take you back to your apartment or your resident halls. And other than that, just our main office staff, we have our dean as our big boss, and also we have director of housing operations who in charge of housing selection, assignment, and key, all those like administrative work. And we do have front desk, and also we have building manager for all the support. We have another opportunity for some students who wanna participate in like customer services. So if you wanna work for our front desk, we have work study students who work for us as well. I'm gonna talk about a little bit about my role as assistant dean. So assistant dean live on professional staff members. We actually live in the halls with our students. So we actually living together, so we can be the frontline staff, professional staff to support all our residential students. Like I mentioned, so we have 3 assistant dean who oversee the first year cluster, and 3 other assistant dean who oversee upper class. We also have student leaders. We call residence assistant (RA). So we supervise all those RA to give the first response to our students, and also we help and supervise our RA to develop and deliver some educational or social program events. Try to have some fun in your resident hall. And also, as a crisis responder, assistant dean also serve as a dean on duty, provide support to the student who has emergency. Sometimes we get a lot of phone call on uh, uh, student like didn't feel well, they need like medical attention, so it's like really critical moment. They call in on duty, and we collaborate with our public safety, and we bring a student to the hospital. And as a dean on duty, I also need to visit our student in hospital to give additional support. Other than that, and also I serve as a conduct hearing officer. It's really a job like we need to enforce some policy in our resident halls. If some student uh, like validate those policy, and we need have a meeting with those students to kind of like have a education moment to correct those behaviors. Next slide, I'm gonna talk about a lot an opportunity we call leadership opportunity for our student. Student can apply to be a resident assistant RA. So the RA role basically is a unique leadership opportunity for students to meaningfully contribute to the residential community at RPI. In their work, RAs serve as resources and role models within our residential clusters, buildings. As members of the Residential Commons team and the Office of Student Living Learning, RAs work collaboratively with the team to create a natural, curious and positive living communities which are conducive to academic achievement and the social and intelligent growth of the resident. So a lot of RA collaborate together to provide a lot of fun programs and provide like movie night and cooking class, and bring a lot of different population on campus to let people make their friends, and also find the people on campus, build a strong community for themselves. Make connections very important. We encourage our resident assistant RA to connect with individual who live on campus and have a meaningful conversation. Like I mentioned, we do have another group of student leader who called a learning assistant (LA). So we collaborate with ALAC office to provide academic support on our residential students as well, and provide academic support to students who not really familiar with college courses when they enter in the first year, and also those LAs also facilitate some academic programming, talking about time management, how you cultivate good learning habits, and also they serve as a bridge to connect our your academic advisor, class dean, and to additional support you academically. So, like I mentioned, we have a lot of different buildings on campus. For first year, actually, we have almost like 20-ish resident buildings you can choose to live. So for example, I oversee Nugent Hall, Davidson, Sharp. That's majority of our international students live together, and because they want to share their own identity with their own cultures and try to find their communities. So a lot of students apply together to be roommates. So a different student interested in different living environment and also their lifestyles. We provide different uh, living environment buildings and also room. We have double room and triple room. We have single rooms you can select. A lot of options. Just go to our website and to check all those floors and rooms, and you will see a lot of different type of our rooms. So second year, it's more the building we oversee is like around campus, but not really in the freshman hill. The freshman hill is like the large freshman student living there, but when you go to upper class and you will have different lifestyles. So second year we have some buildings really like apartment lifestyles and really close to downtown area. So I currently right now this office located in Blenman Hall. Blenman Hall is really nearby the downtown area. So if some student you're interested in go to downtown and grab dinners or have a fun events and you want to close to the downtown area, you can choose like this buildings as well. And also we have a lot of building close to like the football field and upper hills. Then if you are an athletic student and you want to be close to the gym or athletics facilities, and that's another area you can choose. And for the other like upper class, the third year, fourth year student, we have more like tend to be single room. So we recognize you already have your good experience, you know your support system, so if you want more focus on your academic, we have a lot of single room for you, especially for a lot of like graduate students who want to dedicate to their academic, they want their own space. So we recognize that a lot of single space for our upper class student you can choose. So next slide is gonna show different our buildings. Like I mentioned, we have a really diverse room selections options for you to choose, and really depends on what's your lifestyle and what's the connection you want to make on campus, and you want to be more close to um, campus, or you want to go be close to the downtown area. So just go to our website and to check on those floor plans. And also I want to talk a little bit about resources around the Troy area. So a lot of students are foodie. They want to grab food. They want to order like takeaway. So we do have a lot of different restaurants around campus and also in downtown area, like Try Kitchen is really famous. And also we have Red and Blue and like Lucky Corner. Those restaurants is really famous for a lot of like Chinese students who wanna order some like boba teas, um, you know, try different things. And also we have like burger place, we have pizza place, and also I highly recommend there's a place called Bread and Baker. It's a brunch place per se, but also that's a cafe. You can play board games. They have they have a library for the whole board games you can choose. You just pay $5, and a lot of students hang out there. And another famous thing in Troy, we have Troy Farmers Market every Saturday in downtown. We have a lot of local farmers. They come down to the downtown and serve food and sell their own produce and a lot of fresh vegetables, fruit you can buy from the farmer market. We do have a lot of grocery stores around campus, like a lot of students to go to Walmart. If you don't have a car, you can take the 87, I think, the bus and go to the Walmart and Market 32. And you we around Troy, we if you really wanna go to other grocery store like famous grocery like Whole Foods or Aldi or Trader Joe's, it's not in Troy but really nearby Troy. It's around this area, so you have a lot of food options you can choose. I just want to give a little bit information about what we have on campus, what we have in Troy, and how you can get what you need. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. In the end, I will be here for you. All right, I'm gonna hand this over to Mary.
Good morning, everybody, or good evening, depending on where you are. It's morning here in Troy, and it's beautiful sunny day. Like I said before, my name is Mary Nellis, and I am the director for the International Services Office here at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. And what my office does is we provide services for all international students on F1 and J1 visas, starting from the time they're admitted through graduation and then following graduation. Now, we are located on campus. We can always be reached by email and phone, and we have lots of information on our website. Now, before I get into the next few slides about international student processes, I want to direct your attention to the question bar on the lower left-hand side. Feel free to put questions in there as we go along, and then if you have international students, if you have questions, we can address them when we're done. They'll be filtered to me, okay? So what we do, excuse me, in ISSS, like I said, is we work with all international students on F1 and J1 visas. And I mentioned we start from the time you're admitted until after you graduate. So we provide immigration advising. We offer an orientation for all our international students. This orientation is required, and it feeds into the new student orientation that all freshmen go through. So you come to us first. We provide a short orientation to get to know each other as international students and to learn some of the terminology and some different ways to navigate campus. And then we watch you as you go into the Rensselaer orientation for all incoming students. We offer liaisons. So we provide immigration services to our international students, but we also advocate for our international students among different offices on campus as well as in the community. We provide support for our students because sometimes you don't even know who to ask questions, right? And so our office is a good place to just ask the basic questions. And then if we don't know the answer, we send you to the right office, right? We're kind of a hub for that. And we offer some basic programs that are related to your immigration benefits. So for example, internships or post-graduation work opportunities. Those things are all overseen and regulated by the federal government. And so our office offers programs and informational programs to help you get through those and fully utilize the benefits of your visas, okay? So what we have here is kind of the cycle of how international students come to the United States and what they're required to do, and then towards the end. So all of our international students, F1, M1, J1 students, that's a non-immigrant visa. So essentially you're meant to come here and study. And then when you're done with your studies and utilizing some potential work training, then you plan on going home when you're done. We all know that life happens and things may change, but this is the intention of when you get this F1 visa. Okay, so if we go through the steps, first you applied to a program. So if you haven't already applied to Rensselaer Polytechnic, you're hopefully going to. And when you do, when you're accepted, you will then point to receive a form I-20. This I-20 basically says what you're supposed to be doing when you come to the United States. Okay, it says your information, it provides the school information, it gives all the financial information, and you get that. Then you pay the SEVIS fee. SEVIS fee is a one-time fee that helps to support the SEVIS database, which is the tracking database for all our international students. The SEVIS system is self-supporting, so our international students are the ones that actually support the system, which supports them, right? So you pay for this, and then you go and you can then apply for your student visa. Now, I know things are a little bit crazy right now, frankly, among different consulates overseas, and there's kind of a lot of unknown about when consular services will be available. And I don't, unfortunately, have much new information yet, but trust me, when we get more information, we will make sure that you have that information, okay? After you apply and receive your visa, that visa is like the key that gets you into your house. It's just for entry to the United States. So you use the visa with your I-20, you enter in the United States, and you report to Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. We have an orientation for you. We then work with you to collect your documents, and we explain to you at that time what you need to do to maintain your visa status. You have some very basic things that you're required to do to help us to help yourself maintain your status and help us to do the proper reporting for you, okay? And so while you're here, you'll go to school full time. You're going to let us know if your address changes, and then we will help guide you through any questions that you have related to your visa. Then after you graduate, you have options, you have benefits of your visa, in particular, what's called optional practical training, or OPT, which allows you to work for 1 year in your field of study. And if you're a STEM student, you could potentially work up to 2 years more. So there's potential for 3 years of work in your field of study. It has to be related to what you studied. And in that time, you're still working with us. We're still helping you navigate that process because you're still in F1 status, okay? Once you do all that training and you get some different experience, then the plan is to return home and use what you've learned here and take it home in your future careers, okay? So that's the general cycle of what happens with all our international students that come, all right? So some of the biggest questions international students have when they come to the United States, and in particular is applying for the visa. It can be really intimidating to apply for an F1 visa. Well, to apply for any visa, really, but I think that the F1 visa is kind of scary because it's such a long visa, right? And the stakes are really high. I mean, you're wanting to come to the United States and study, and so there are some tips that my professional organization has put out there, and also in my experience that we have, that I'm going to give to you, and then I'm going to give you some links to look at when you are getting ready to apply for your visa. Okay, so the number one tip for applying for your student visa is showing ties to your home country. Okay, and now, do you remember in the previous slide I mentioned that it's a non-immigrant visa? So the intention is that you're going to return home when you're done. And so when you're applying for the visa, you need to think about, what are your plans when you're done and return home? I know many people know that sometimes with life, maybe you don't return home, maybe you find a job here. But when you're applying for the F1 visa, the intention is to return home. And all visas have this underlying intention. And right now, that there's particular emphasis on this intention. So for you, that means you think about what you want to do when you get done with your program of study, when you return home. Okay, think about what connections you have to your home country, to your family. Keep all of these in mind as you go for your visa interview. Okay, next is practice your English conversation skills. And the reason I say this is because it's so intimidating to go in front of a consular officer. I don't need a visa to the United States, but I have applied for visas for other countries, and it's scary, right? So practice your English skills, take some of these tips, have a friend ask you questions, right? So you can prepare for your visa interview. Okay. 3 is speak for yourself. Just go and talk about what you want to do. Okay. Think about, why do you want to study here in the United States, and why is it that, and how is it that you need to study here that you can't get in your home country, right? That really strengthens your case for what you want to do. So that goes to number 4. Know the program and how it fits into your career plans. I'm sure you've already thought about, my dream is to be an electrical engineer. So I have these dreams of what I want to do with this, right? Think about that. Think about how particularly the program at RPI will fit into what you want to do. And then next is be brief and maintain a positive attitude. Smile. Smiling is really important. Don't be afraid. You're just there speaking for yourself, and be excited. Use that energy that you have of being kind of afraid and think it's the same thing as being excited. It's that same energy. So just be positive. Okay. Now, I want to go back here. When it says be brief and maintain a positive attitude, I'm also going to say, just answer the questions. You only need to answer the questions that they ask you. Okay, you don't need to give extra information. Okay, so don't worry about filling in all of the other gaps. If they have questions, they will ask you. Okay. 6th is supporting documentation. Make sure that you bring all your papers with you. You can bring more than you need, but really what you're going to need is your I-20. You're going to need your passport. You're going to need proof of your finances. Okay, and proof of your I-901 SEVIS fee payment. Okay, those are the basics. For each consulate, they may have different requirements, and this gets into number 7. They may have different requirements for what you need to prove that you want to study. But at the minimum, you'd need those 4 documents: I-20, SEVIS I-901 fee, your passport, and then the supporting financial documentation. Okay. Number 8, I mentioned employment, because like I said, the primary purpose of this visa is to study. It's not to have a job. Even if you have benefits, your primary purpose is to study. And so if they ask you if you want to find a job in the United States, basically you're going to tell them that you're coming to study. You might have opportunities to do internships, and you might have opportunities afterwards, but the purpose of this visa is not for employment. The purpose of this visa is for you to study. Okay. Number 9, most of you are not going to have this, but a lot of our grad students have dependents, and that's spouses and children. So if you have spouses or children that are staying in your home country, that can also show ties to your home country. Okay. Now, number 10 is administrative processing. And most of our undergraduate students do not have any issues with administrative processing. What administrative processing it's basically a more detailed review of what you're going to be studying. And it's more common with graduate students that are studying very sensitive information. But most of our undergraduate students do not have that problem. But it is there. So it's something that if it does happen that they are putting you into administrative processing, just let us know. And then if you have any questions, we can help you with that. Okay? Now, I mentioned that I'm going to give you some additional resources. And so here it is. So we've got my office arrival guide that gives you all kinds of information that you need for coming to campus as an international student. We also have off-campus commons. Now, for all of our incoming freshmen, you'll be living on campus. But later on, you may want to live off campus. When you're getting to your junior year, senior year, you may choose to do that. And so, as Mike mentioned before, there is services for that. Okay. Next, we have 5 ways to prepare for your visa interview. This is from Study in the States. So the Study in the States is it's a website that is hosted by the federal government, and they give lots of good tips about applying for your visa. But then finally, we have a YouTube video that we found that was created by an international student, and we think that it's really a useful video for you to watch. There's so many things on the internet that can be actually sometimes really confusing. So don't spend too much time overthinking the visa interview process. Just spend a little bit of time preparing and think about really what you want to do and be positive and go into your visa interview with a smile. Okay? And so that's what I have for you today. So from here, I'm going to hand it back over to Nick, and he'll wrap up, and then we'll start addressing some of your questions.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mary, for that great information that you provided to us. Just wanted to touch upon a couple of opportunities for you as students to kind of connect with the Rensselaer community and the Rensselaer campus. Obviously, at these times, travel is not really available. All of us are working remotely from home, and students are taking classes remotely from home, kind of finishing up the spring semester. And for many of our international students, you're not able to get to campus, even if things like this were not going on right now. So we have a really great virtual tour that we shot within the last year or so. You can go right to the website, go.rpi.edu/tour. And it'll take you to a great virtual tour, general campus tour experience. We also have a couple of kind of mini tours that highlight different areas within our campus. One highlighting our Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center, another one highlighting our East Campus Athletic Village, and then each of our schools have their own kind of mini tours highlighting some of their research facilities or other neat facilities within their campus. Beyond the campus tour, we have a lot of other great opportunities to kind of connect with campus. A great way, Instagram at RPI Admissions. Just connect with us there. We're having Q&A sessions where you can kind of type in your questions and we'll answer them right on the spot. Interactive activities with students, faculty, and staff. Takeover days. So a lot of great opportunities before our campus kind of shut down for the semester. We also had our students kind of give a live tour of campus, taking you to some areas that aren't seen on the general campus tour. So that's available in our Instagram feed as well. You can also connect with us through Facebook and admissions. As Megan mentioned, we have a lot of webinars and virtual opportunities. If you go to go.rpi.edu/virtual, all of these opportunities will be listed for you. Almost every single day during the month of April, we will be having multiple webinars available, everything from student life to individual departments, to students, to faculty, to staff. So it's really a great opportunity to kind of connect with our current students, kind of get a feel of our campus and kind of explore all those wonderful opportunities that a Rensselaer education does have to offer its students. So if you want to go to one website that lists everything that's available, go.rpi.edu/virtual, and you'll see all the listings there, the daily information sessions, academic specific webinars, student life specific webinars, everything listed there is available for you. So now I want to invite kind of our